Good afternoon, everybody. I had big plans of introducing myself in Spanish because I am in Costa Rica, and I stood up here and it does not want to come out. Um, but I am still going to try. Bear with me. Hola a todos. Mi nombre es Khadija Stewart. Estoy
Hi
muy
everyone, my name is Khadija Stewart. I'm very excited to be here with all of you, and I can, I can kind of handle Spanish a little bit, but I'm quite shy. So, and with that said, I'm going to switch over to English before embarrassing myself with more of my native tongue. Is that good? All right, good.
All right. So I am Khadija Stewart from Trinidad and Tobago. I am the Caribbean Regional Representative at Sustainable Ocean Alliance. And I am here today to talk about the role of youth in blue carbon restoration in the Caribbean. And Sustainable Ocean Alliance is a youth nonprofit organization that was established in the US in 2014. And last year we created the SOA Caribbean Hub. And as you can see from February to now, which I think is very good, we have about 300 members in 14 different countries across the region: Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, etc. And we are focused on building young ocean leaders, developing solutions, and just making sure that we do the best we can to ensure a healthy ocean and sustainable future for all. Right. So when we talk about blue carbon, as you all know, we talk about the organic carbon that is stored, that is sequestered and stored in vegetated marine and coastal ecosystems. And in the Caribbean, the ocean is referred to as the beating blue heart of the planet. And of course, we are deeply connected to our ocean emotionally, culturally, economically, you name it. Every Caribbean person just loves a good day on the beach with most likely a pina colada or margarita, or maybe water, depending on who you're speaking to. But the point is, we absolutely love and appreciate our ocean. And blue carbon ecosystems in the region, unfortunately, by some is not given the attention that it needs. And I'm referring to mangroves, seagrasses, and saltwater marshes. And I remember a few years ago, I was speaking to someone on mangroves in Trinidad and Tobago, and they were like, why would anyone want to go there? Like, it's disgusting. It smells bad, all these different things. And I'm like, no, like people don't understand the importance and the value that these ecosystems bring, which is why us as young people, we feel it's so important to speak up and speak out so often. And in the Caribbean, especially some of the lower lying states, we are extremely vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. Things like storm surges, hurricanes. Just recently, last week, or is it this week? No, today's Tuesday or Wednesday. Today's Tuesday, right? So last week, just recently, as the rainy season started in Trinidad, we already started seeing flooding taking place. And, with climate change on the rise, we expected to see increased hurricanes, tropical storms, you name it, right? And blue carbon plays an essential role in helping the region deal with climate resilience as well as climate mitigation, not just because of its carbon sequestration and storage, mechanisms, but the fact that, well, we could also use it as a way to support blue financing to help develop different mitigation and adaptation strategies. But it also breaks the energy of the waves and just provide that coastal protection that we so very much need. And it is also a very key biodiversity place for conservation. There's so many different species that originate and exist in our blue carbon ecosystems that is extremely important for us. The biggest thing that could come to mind right now is fisheries. And I see I have there, sustainable fisheries. Almost every island. I think that it will be very strange if I meet someone from the Caribbean who tells me that their country does not eat fish. They might be severely judged, but for the most part, almost every island fisheries play an enormous role in their economy as well as food source. So it is extremely beneficial to us as well as tourism and recreation. A lot of these ecosystems provide areas for diving, to go and explore this rich that biodiversity that I was talking about, etc. So, it really is a key factor in the Caribbean's economy, and it is so important that we work towards protecting and conserving this resource. Right. Like I mentioned, unfortunately, blue carbon is not given the attention right now that it needs in the region, especially as it is necessary for climate mitigation. But we have seen some studies, on the rise, etc. But there's still so much more to be done. And this is where we get youth. That could come in and kind of help bridge that gap. And myself, as a lovely young person here today, very much dealing with imposter syndrome and all the different barriers that come with being a young person, but still finding power and coming out and speaking up. These are some of the skills that we have that we would love to keep putting to use and to power. When we talk about things like long-term stewardship, for example, if it is more young people are connected to the environment in a way. I remember when I was growing up, going to the river, playing, catching water, doing all these different things. So I had that deep connection to the environment. And now so more than ever, when I see deforestation taking place or all these other different things taking place, like I'm so angry and I'm so connected to it. But whereas now we have so much people that are being raised so disconnected from the environment that, their desire to want to protect it, to be an eco-conscious citizen, to have that level of environmental pride is somewhat deteriorating and diminishing to a certain extent. So by going out there, speaking to them, encouraging them, etc., it really helps build that long-term stewardship to help them to want to protect and even understand the importance and value some of these blue carbon ecosystems that we have. And one of the other good things that young people like myself we have energy and enthusiasm, and we definitely are always keen to come up with innovative solutions and develop creative projects or initiatives without sometimes having to deal with the bureaucracies that exist with being part of a governmental organization, and just getting access to different funds to be able to channel that creative energy and also drive change that is necessary. And another next good thing that we are also good at is driving education and awareness through developing different examples, social media initiatives, or just speaking to students at school. A lot of time when some of the other organizations go in and speak to students or, just children in general, sometimes they can't relate because they're thinking, oh, this person is so much older than me. Like they have these skills, they have this experience, they know exactly what they're talking about. But sometimes when they see somebody that is exactly like them, same age or around the same age that are doing all these different things, it's like, oh, okay, well, they're doing it, so can I, so it also provides that level of empowerment to help keep driving change and speaking up and developing different advocacy programs and initiatives and collaborating on network. And this is one of the key things that I think that SOA has and Sustainable Ocean Alliance has definitely mastered with this network of young people that exists. I mentioned SOA Caribbean, there's an SOA Costa Rica, there's SOA Nigeria, SOA in the US, like all across the world. And we have the opportunity to connect and learn from each other. Just recently, I was speaking to one of the young members from Colombia and what different activities they have going out there, and like learning and understanding what has worked for them, what hasn't worked for them. What are some of the barriers they're facing? How does this match with what we're seeing in the Caribbean? And how could we collaborate and move forward to have a greater impact, ensuring that we really protect and conserve blue carbon ecosystems, as well as just inspiring action. They always talk about the importance of representation, like I mentioned. So seeing somebody like myself, etc., and just really as well as sharing stories. I also have a podcast, and I know that when I interview certain people and like hear their stories and stuff, I get other students who listen to the podcast saying, "Oh, this is interesting. I could do this as well. Wow, could you connect me?" So there's also power in storytelling, which is a very unique and fun skill that I think that young people have and thrive on, that could really help inspire action and get us to all go out there and be agents of change. And just to give some examples of youth in action in the region, at the left, yes, it's my left hand, across in the left, that is one of our country leaders in Jamaica. And I saw we had someone from Jamaica present in the room. I see him, he's waving in the back. Yes, that was a mangrove replanting exercise. We also have a next member speaking at a town hall, session, really getting ministers involved and everybody in one common space to talk about the importance of mangroves, why we need to value them, the benefits that they bring to the region, etc. We also have some members doing work on really understanding and monitoring seagrass ecosystems, looking at the pollination, looking at how what different species there are in Trinidad and Tobago. And sometimes the people working in these fields, again, mostly governmental organizations, they are limited in capacity. And this is where, as I mentioned, young people do have the power to bridge that gap, to go out there and help collect data, go out there and help raise awareness and really be an agent that could drive evidence-based decision-making by contributing to data gaps that are existing. We also have, I saw earlier, a presentation come up from Roots of the Sea, Caribbean. They operate in Martinique and they always do a lot of educational outreach, talking to kids, just getting them excited about mangroves in the whole space of marine conservation and ocean science. There are a lot of people that are heavily focused on coral reefs, they're pretty, they're exciting, or marine mammals, things like sea turtle conservation, etc. And like I mentioned, there's so much young people in the region that is just not excited about or connected to blue carbon ecosystems, and that is all we try to do as much as possible. And in summary, I had so much more notes here, but it's okay. And in summary, I really think that, youth engagement in blue carbon restoration is crucial for long-term stewardship, innovation, education, collaboration, and inspiring collective action. And by involving youth in these efforts, we can definitely foster a sustainable future and ensure, the preservation of blue carbon ecosystems for future generations to come. And I know I would have mentioned previously that we definitely face a lot of different barriers, things like access to information, access to resources, access to funds, etc. But as youth, we're really, despite all of that, finding ways, and this is where the creativity and innovation comes in, to just really go out there and connect and do the best that we can. And this is where I think, that need for intergenerational collaboration, as well as engaging all stakeholders, is so important to make sure that we have the biggest and the broadest impact in protecting and conserving these ecosystems. So that is it from me, short and sweet.